All right, so we're recording. I'm going to share the screen. Huh? You got it to work? Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully everyone got the model to run, right? So now we're going to do the second one. I'm going to try to move faster if I can, and really just focus on the parts that are like a little bit different for ONNX runtime, okay? But basically, as you know, we already deployed the model. So now, so I'm gonna make sure it's recording. So I need this model, right? Wine quality ORT now on the GitHub, okay? So that we're gonna start there. So I'm gonna click on this one. Wine quality, XGBoost. If I click on this right now, nothing will happen, right? Because I don't have anything. But let's go ahead and add the model. So it should be on the desktop. And then we just have to go to session 2. And then I think it's regression, I believe. And then ORT, there it is, right? So we're going to click on it, and there you go. And it's as simple as that, right? So we've got our model, commit. And now we need to do the exact same thing as before, create those 2 files. So I'll start with index. Index will be a little bit different, I believe, but I'm going to copy the one we just did for normal ONNX. Okay, so this thing's stuck there. So let's go to deploy to production, wine quality, NN, and I'm just going to copy the whole of index, right? So this is already modified for what we need. So control copy. So then we can go here, XGBoost, and then we're going to create index.html in here. So add file, create new file, index.html, and we can just paste it. Basically, going to have 11 inputs, so a lot of that should be the same. The one thing you have to pay attention to is just to take a look at this. So it's a different library now. It's going to be https://cdn js deliver.net npm, and then here it's going to change. So after npm, it's going to change to ONNX runtime. At least that's what I have, runtime. I did this year, like maybe a couple of months ago. These things are changing all the time, so you might want to check to see if there's a newer version, etc. But all right, so ONNX runtime web distribution ort.min.js, just like that. All right, and that should work. And then our index.js, of course, will be the file that we're going to add our code to. The CSS should be pretty much the same. I don't anticipate anything being different here. And you guys can style it as you'd like. We're going to change the heading and just say XGBoost. Okay. Then we've got our text boxes, right? That shouldn't change. Guys, everyone with me? All right, so that shouldn't change. There's 11 boxes here. The button should be run example, so that's the same. And prediction. So I think everything should be good, okay? So we just need to change that. All right, so let's go ahead and click commit. Okay, so we've got the index file there. If we click on this, it's kind of still not, it's only showing the README right now. So let's give it a sec. All right, now let's copy the JS code because we can also reuse some of that. Okay, so we're going to go to wine quality, NN, index.js, and let's just copy this. Here you can just hit cancel and go back to wine quality, XGBoost. And here we're going to add index.js. So do add file, create new file, index.js, and then just paste it. Right? Obviously, this is going to change a little bit, but not so much because it's still JavaScript. It's really just the commands that have to do with ONNX runtime. So let's just commit, and then we're going to modify it. Okay. So if we click on this, it's still not there. Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect. So now you can see wine quality XGBoost. Obviously, this doesn't work yet, but we do have our initial website. All right, so now let's go into index.js. Okay. So the name function is run example. That's when whenever you press the button, it comes here. We've got the variable X, should still be good. We're using document get element by ID. We're getting the boxes, so that should be good. Okay. Then, see, this is where it's going to change now a little bit. So let's click on pencil. So this, we're not using ONNX anymore. So instead, we're going to do let tensor X equal new ORT here for ONNX runtime. Yeah. Okay. And then it wants this to be still a tensor. So dot tensor. Now this, they changed it, the order apparently. So now it's going to be float 32 first, then X, and then 1,11. So it's similar, right? Okay. That looks correct. Then they have a new variable here. They want you to give the data basically as a dictionary in a sense, almost. So we're going to create this thing called feeds equal curly brackets. Make sure that's a curly bracket. Yeah. Okay. And then in here, we're going to say float input. If you remember, our model was called, the input was called float input, right? So here we're referencing it and we're tying it to tensor X. Do you guys see that? Does this make sense? Okay. As a side note, I mean, I keep wanting to say this. This is how the original TensorFlow was. It had sessions, it had these feed things. So it's interesting that ONNX is like that. TensorFlow is no longer like this, but it used to be like this. Anyway, that's just an aside. All right, so we've got the tensor X in there, right? So now let's see what else. Now we're gonna basically load the model. So we're gonna say, let session, right? We leave that there. Now we're gonna in one shot say await ORT let's get rid of this, dot inference session. So it's this one here, inference session. Okay, so inference session dot create. Okay. And as you might imagine, in here, we're going to add our model. Okay. So the model, I'm just going to copy the name. I'm going to go to wine quality. XGBoost. And I'm going to copy this one here. Copy. So I don't make any spelling mistakes. Okay. So I've got the ORT model in there. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so once you create the session, now we can use it. So basically, I'm going to get rid of this one, right? That's already. And then actually, I'm just going to type the rest. I'm getting confused already. All right, so now all we got to do is do let result equal await session dot run, and we provide feeds, which if you remember, feeds has all the data. The usefulness of this feeds is you can have multiple things in there. And this might be useful like when it's more complicated models, basically. All right. So here we're just going to do feeds like that. Okay. And now that we have result, we just need to extract the information from result. So let's do let output data equal result dot variable, which if you remember, that was the name of the output, yeah? And then dot data. Okay, that's why that was useful to do in the ORT, because when I was doing this, I couldn't figure out the names and I had to get them from the other in the Jupyter, and then I was able to write this code. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. The last part would be to just typecast this and remove all the digits after the decimal point, so we can do output data equal parse float. So these are JavaScript functions, I think. Parse float output data. Output data. Okay. Dot to fixed, right? And then we can specify this to be a fixed value like 2, for instance. Okay. All right, and that should be it. Then we invoke predictions again, and then we're gonna, so you can see that here, right? Predictions, get element by ID. And now we're just gonna update the inner HTML. So we can keep it as got an output tensor with values. Rating of wine quality should be correct. And then in here, we can just say, we already formatted everything, so we don't have to format it inside. Instead, we can just put in here. So we're going to type in here output data, basically. It's just another way of doing it. I did like that. Got it? So this output data here, right, is what's going to go in once we get predictions with get element by ID. And then we just plug it in here, and that should be it. So cross your fingers, right, that it works. Give it 10 minutes. Again, it's the same effect that we had before. I think it'll be similar. So I'm going to hit commit. But yeah, that should be how you deploy models. As an exercise, you might want to try to figure out how to deploy a PyTorch model with ONNX runtime, right? So ONNX runtime is, as far as I know, the last time I checked, the latest iteration of this framework. Okay, ORT. Any questions, guys? So that should be it. So if we click on XGBoost, we've got our index HTML, we've got our index.js, we've got the model itself. So now I'm going to click on here, I'm going to hit refresh, I'm going to go back. Just want to give it at least a minute. So let's give the JS file a little bit. And please, let me know, raise your hand if you get yours to work, okay? We want to make sure that we get a value at least, and that when we press the button and change some of the text box inputs, that the value changes, just to make sure that the code itself is correct. And then remember, use your best ONNX model for this. Sorry, your best XGBoost model. Okay, so I'm going to refresh again. All right, so can I click on this one? Still nothing for me. All right, I'm going to pause the video because this takes a while.